Have you ever wondered about the origins of the universe, what lies at the very beginning of everything we know? Let's take a step back, a step way back, to the very beginning, to a time before time, when there was nothing but darkness. The stage was set, the canvas was blank, and the world as we know it was about to be born. In the beginning there was only God and the void. Into this vast emptiness God spoke, "Let there be light," and light was. The first day had dawned. On the second day, God divided the waters, creating the sky and giving the earth shape. The stage was now set, awaiting its actors. The third day brought land and sea, separated by God's command, but the earth was barren, so God covered it with vegetation, with plants and trees, each according to its own kind. The fourth day illuminated the world. God set the sun, moon and stars in the sky, creating both day and night, and marking seasons and years. On the fifth day, God filled the earth with life. Birds to fly across the sky and sea creatures to inhabit the depths of the oceans. The sixth day brought forth all sorts of animals, each according to its kind. The earth was now teeming with life, but the masterpiece was yet to be unveiled. God then created humanity, male and female, in his own image, to be caretakers of his creation. On the seventh day God rested. He looked at the world he had created, and he saw that it was good. The creation story, as told in the book of Genesis, is not just about the creation of the world. It's about the creation of order, of purpose, of meaning. It's about the establishment of relationships between God and his creation, and among the creatures themselves. And so, in 6 days the world as we know it was formed, setting the stage for the drama of life to unfold. So there was a world, a paradise, but who were its inhabitants? Enter Adam and Eve, the first humans, according to the book of Genesis. The tale of their creation is as fascinating as it is profound. God, having crafted the earth and all its wonders, chose to breathe life into Adam, the first man. From the dust of the earth Adam was formed, given life by the very breath of God himself. But for Adam, something was missing. In the midst of all the beauty and abundance he walked alone. Recognizing this, God decided that it was not good for man to be alone, so he caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. From Adam's side God took a rib and fashioned Eve, the first woman. She was a companion for Adam, someone who was flesh of his flesh and bone of his bone. Together they lived in the Garden of Eden, a paradise of perfect harmony and abundance. They were free to enjoy all the fruits of the garden with one exception. God had placed a single restriction on them. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This was a test of their obedience, a mark of their faith. In Eden, Adam and Eve knew no shame or sorrow. They walked with God in the cool of the day, living in a state of perfect peace and innocence. They were caretakers of the garden, stewards of all that God had created. It was a time of bliss, of unity with nature, and of unbroken fellowship with God. This was life as it was intended to be, a beautiful balance of freedom and responsibility. But within this perfect paradise a seed was planted, a seed that would bring about a profound change. In this paradisiacal Eden Adam and Eve lived, but the seeds of a great change were sown. What happens when the only rule is broken? Let's delve into the tale of humanity's first disobedience, the moment when innocence was lost, and the world as it was known forever changed. In the heart of the Garden of Eden, the serpent, clever and cunning, slithered up to Eve. It whispered sweet temptations into her ear, challenging God's one command. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? The serpent's words were like seeds, sowing doubt and curiosity in Eve's heart. Eve, with Adam by her side, succumbed to the serpent's temptation. They ate from the forbidden tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, breaking the only rule that God had set for them. In that moment their eyes were opened, and they realized their nakedness, feeling shame for the first time. But God, in his omnipotence, knew of their transgression. He called out to Adam and Eve, who hid from him, consumed by their newfound awareness and guilt. When confronted, Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. However, the blame could not erase their actions, nor could it save them from the consequences. God declared the punishments for their disobedience. The serpent was cursed to crawl on its belly, forever to eat dust. Eve was condemned to suffer pain in childbirth, and Adam was sentenced to a life of hard labor, toiling the ground from which he was created. The once harmonious relationship between God and his creation was fractured. Their paradise lost, Adam and Eve were banished from the Garden of Eden. God placed cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life, ensuring that they could not return. With their fall, suffering entered the world, but so did the promise of redemption. The story of the fall of man is not just a tale of disobedience and punishment, it's a story of grace and hope, setting the stage for a redemption narrative that would unfold in the chapters to come. From disobedience to violence, how did humanity's story progress? We dive into the tale of the first recorded murder in human history according to the Holy Bible. Our protagonists are none other than Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve, the first humans. Cain, the elder of the two, was a tiller of the ground. His younger brother Abel, on the other hand, was a shepherd. Both brothers brought offerings to God. Abel offered the firstlings of his flock, the best of his lambs, demonstrating his faith and devotion. Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground. Yet, for reasons that remain mysterious, God had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering, he did not. This divine preference stirred a bitter jealousy within Cain. His countenance fell, and he was filled with resentment. God, seeing Cain's distress, offered counsel. He told Cain that sin was crouching at his door, its desire is for him, but he must rule over it. Despite this warning, Cain's jealousy overpowered him. One day, when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and took his life. This act marked the first murder in human history. When God questioned Cain about Abel's whereabouts, Cain responded with a question that would echo through time. Am I my brother's keeper? As a consequence of his actions, Cain was cursed by God. He was made a restless wanderer on the earth, and though he feared that he would be killed, God set a mark on Cain to protect him, declaring that anyone who killed Cain would suffer a sevenfold vengeance. The story of Cain and Abel is a tragic tale of jealousy, betrayal, and divine justice. It sets the stage for the complex narrative of human morality that unfolds throughout the Bible. It is a stark reminder of the painful consequences of sin and the far-reaching effects of our actions. With that, humanity took its first steps into a world where righteousness and sin would forever be in conflict. But what happens when sin overwhelms righteousness? Imagine a world steeped in corruption and wickedness, where mankind has strayed so far from virtue that divine intervention becomes the only recourse. This was the world before the Great Flood, as depicted in the book of Genesis. God, grieved by the state of humanity, decided on a course of action that was as drastic as it was necessary, a deluge of unimaginable proportions to cleanse the earth. Yet, amidst the looming destruction there was a beacon of hope, a man named Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Recognizing Noah's virtue, God chose him for a monumental task. Noah was to build an ark, a ship of gopher wood, vast and sturdy, capable of surviving the impending flood. Inside this ark, Noah, his family, and a pair of every kind of living creature would find refuge. This was no small feat. Imagine the cacophony of squawks, roars, and growls, the sheer diversity of life gathered under one roof. Yet Noah, driven by faith and obedience, undertook this task with unwavering dedication. As the heavens opened and rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights, the world as it was known was submerged. Mountains disappeared beneath the waves and all life outside the ark was extinguished. Yet, within the confines of the ark, life persisted. Finally, as the waters receded, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah, his family, and the animals disembarked into a world washed clean, ready to begin anew. It was a fresh start, a chance to restore righteousness and live in harmony with the divine plan once more. In the face of overwhelming destruction, hope and life endured, ready for a new beginning.